Shalom, shalom. First off, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha, Kodash. Yahweh is the true name of a Heavenly Father, who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahweh Shai is the true name of the Heavenly Father's Son, the Son of Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. I want to give double honors to my apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who I learned his truth from, and peace and blessings goes to the hopeful elect, my brothers that are out in the highways, pushing his word and his truth in sincerity. I'm the brother Isaiah from GMS LA, and in today's lesson, Lord willing, this lesson is edifying through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. But in today's lesson, Lord willing, I'll title it, "The Lord will bring strangers upon thee." And this is from the book of Ezekiel, the 28th chapter and the 7th verse. But before I read it, just want to basically give a quick summary of what inspired me to do this lesson, or sparked this lesson. Was seeing this post from Real News No Bullshit. All right, and this is like an alternate news site, that I subscribe to. And they posted this today, going into America's top 3 generals having a meeting with the Senate over concerns of military buildup between China, Russia, as well as Iran and North Korea. And all these nations that I've mentioned are all America's enemies. All right. And basically what these generals are talking, are basically pleading to Congress on how they have to stay ready and how they have to be ready. This is a concern that they have to keep a strict eye on. All right. Seeing these nations rapidly building up their armies. But why is this happening according to the scriptures? Why do you see military preparations? Why you see all these drills? Why you see wars, rumors of wars? All right, because the Lord is raising up these nations. All right, especially these nations that were once weak, especially these nations that were once despised, that America looked at that America thought had no power. Okay, now they're concerned about these nations. Okay, because inherently Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is raising these nations up, starting with Russia, to destroy Babylon the Great, which is America. All right, this is to Esau to the elites of America. This is a great concern. To these generals, this is a great concern, especially before I continue to read. Before I get the scriptures, I want to show you this. Now, I'm not gonna play it, but just a quick summary. This is going into, well, let's read a little bit of it. Their fleet readiness in case of a war, right? Let's see. Most of our fleet is about 90% operational readiness rate. If you aggregate as a cross fleet, it's sitting about 80%. It says second video, Senator Civilian, only 66% of the attack submarine fleet in the U.S. Navy is available for operation. Ships or readiness is at 32%. All right, so they're basically in this one. The next meeting, they're going into the readiness of the military in case a war will break out between Russia and China. Okay, well, that was just a quick summary. Let's get the scriptures now. Let's get the book of Joel, the 6th chapter. Slaki, not the 6th. It has no. It's only 3 chapters, but Joel, the 2nd chapter. No, Slaki, the 3rd chapter and the 9th verse. All right, so why are we, again, to answer the question, according to the scriptures, is why are we seeing all these military buildups between America's enemies. All right, it's all according to the scriptures. When you read the book of Joel, the 3rd chapter and the 9th verse, it says, "Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles." The Gentiles is referring to the heathens, the other nations like Ammon, Ham, all right, Moab. Okay, it says, prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. And this is what we're seeing. We're seeing these nations prepare for war, having all these military drills, military exercises. All right, for what? You don't have drills for nothing. You don't just do constant military drills through air, through the sea, and through land on a constant basis for nothing. You have all these drills because you're preparing for something. All right, and what are these nations preparing for? This next world war. All right, it says, give me a second, Salakia. So it says, prepare war, wake up the mighty men. All right, the mighty men represent these nations' armies, these nations' soldiers. All right, let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. And where they're going to draw near to? Where is this war going to take place? In the Middle East, which is considered the Valley of Jehoshaphat, which breaks down to Yahweh Shaphat, Yahweh's judgment. All right, it says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I'm strong. Right, you've seen all these nations, instead of building and spending their money on bettering their people, building their agriculture and all that. All right, they're spending their money and putting their time to building weapons of war, specifically nuclear war. All right, like for example, we see America. Right, America is the only nation that does not have hypersonic missiles. North Korea, Iran, China, and Russia, they all have these type of missiles, hypersonic missiles. And they all also have, which the hypersonic missile is the device that carries the warhead. You can go into that. But I say that because you notice how America's enemies have the hypersonic missile. All right, but America don't. All right, but all these America's enemies, they all have nuclear missiles capability through through intercontinental ICBMs, through hypersonic missiles. Okay, and so reading that again, it says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I'm strong. Right, and what is compared to America? What is a weak nation? Iran. Okay, Iran or North Korea. All right, but what does it mean when it said let the weak say I'm strong? What makes these nations like Iran or North Korea, which I'm just using them as an example, strong? The capability of being able to shoot missiles, nuclear missiles. All right, why you think America is too afraid to go to war with Russia? All right, why you think they don't try to push Russia's button head on? All right, because what Russia's been saying is that, especially Vladimir Putin, he says that if Russia's independence is threatened, that they're going to use nuclear war, nuclear missiles. Why you think that when Russia invaded Ukraine, that America, they didn't defend Ukraine by sending troops? Yeah, they sent a lot of support and aid and military equipment, but they didn't send their troops because they know that if they do, that's going to be a world war, which everyone knows that. All right, and if you don't know, you should know that when World War III breaks out, know that it's going to turn into a nuclear war, most definitely. All right, so it says, let the weak say I'm strong. All right, verse 11, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause our mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. And this is what we're seeing right now. This is what's getting ready to happen. These heathens are being wakened. All right. And building and strengthening their military might through air, land, and sea. Okay. It says, and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is the Middle Eastern region. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. And this is why it's going to happen. This is why the Lord is going to bring all these nations in the Middle East in the valley of Jehoshaphat, because he's going to judge them, man. This is going to be the most bloodiest war that's ever take place. When you go to Joel, the 2nd chapter, and the 20th verse, it mentions of how the northern army going to be brought into a land barren and desolate, and their stinks is going to come up, roughly paraphrasing it. But to move on, let's get Isaiah, the 9th chapter, because of course, the Lord is going to bring these nations into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and these nations are going to fight each other. Let's not forget, when our Lord Yahweh Shai appears, how they're going to, stop fighting each other and try to fight the Lord. Okay? But in the midst of all that, in the midst of these troops, all these soldiers fighting from these different nations fighting each other, eventually it's going to turn nuclear. All right. So this is Isaiah 9:5. It says, for every battle of the warriors with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. Right. So every battle of the warrior in the ancient warfare, all right, in ancient warfare, in ancient war, all right, in the ancient world, when nations went to war, they fought with spears, they fought with swords, shields, arrows. Or it was hand-to-hand combat. It was close combat. It's not like you have today. All right, where you have your sword and you stab your enemy, the enemy nation, and his blood will be upon your garment. Okay? But this war is gonna be, but like it says at the end, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. All right, nuclear. Now, of course, these nations are not gonna, when this happens, right? When World War III is declared, it's not just gonna turn nuclear straight up. All right, I forgot the word. These nations are gonna they're gonna be fighting each other. Send their soldiers. Is gonna be, it's gonna be a bloodbath, man. All right, but eventually, the Lord's gonna put the spirit in these other nations, starting with Russia, to shoot missiles, man. Eventually, it's going to turn into a nuclear war. All right? It's going to turn into a nuclear war. This is what it means, that when it says, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire, man. Okay? And out of this outcome, America and the land of Israel will be completely destroyed, man. All right? Because this is all of the Lord's will. All right, he's raising up these nations, strengthening the military. And the one way that they're strengthening is through these missiles, man. That's why Iran is not scared of America. China's not scared of America. All right, this is why they do what they do and say what they say, because they have the same capabilities that America has. And if, not just the same, but it could even be better. Okay? Could even be better, man. So let's get the book of Ezekiel, the 28th chapter, and the 7th verse. Well, I'll start from the 6th verse, all right? Ezekiel 28:6, it says, therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, because thou hast set thy heart as the heart of the Most High. And this is referring to Esau, Edom. All right? Esau has set his mind like he is God, man. He has put himself like he's a God, man. Okay? He has that in his mind, like he's a God. All right? He has everyone worshiping him as as a God. Okay? But he is just a man, and the Lord is getting ready to show him that, man. All right, it says, behold, therefore I will bring strangers upon thee, the terrible of the nations, and they shall draw their swords against the beauty of thy wisdom, and they shall defile thy brightness. Right, man? The strangers in the other nations is referring to these heathens, man, like Russia, China, okay, North Korea, Iran. Let's not forget these different Ishmaelite nations that hate America. All right, when you go into Second Ezra, the 15th chapter, it mentions the dragons of Arabia and the Carmenians, which the dragons of Arabia are Ishmael, and the Carmenians are the Persians, Iran, Elam. How are they going to come against Assyria? America, man. All right. The Lord is going to bring up these strangers, and he's going to show them the terrible of the nations, and they're going to draw their swords against it. What's that? The nuclear missiles. The nuclear missiles, man. It says, again, and they shall draw their swords against the beauty of thy wisdom, and they shall defile thy brightness. They shall bring thee down to the pit, and thou shalt die the depths of them that are slain in the midst of the seas. Wilt thou yet say before him that slayeth thee, I am a God? But thou shalt be a man and no God in the hand of him that slayeth thee. Right, man? When this happens, you Edomites can't stop this. You can't stop America from being destroyed. You can't tell the Russians that you're a god. All right, you can't kill a god. You can't. There's nothing you could do to stop this. All right, so if you Edomites, you have that god complex. You have it in your mind like you're a god. Well, if you're a god, you can stop this. You can stop these nations from raising against thee, man. If you're a god, man, you won't be afraid like you see right here in the left corner of the screen. Look at the dude's face. He looks afraid, man. These generals, these American generals, they see these nations rising up in their military power, and they're afraid, man. And they look at theirs, and they look at their men and how weak America has become compared to these other nations. That they're afraid. But if you're a god, you wouldn't be afraid. Matter of fact, you would embrace it, man, because the scripture says the Most High is a man of war, right? You Edomites, all right, you set yourself like you're a god, man. You wouldn't be afraid of these other nations. It would be easy work for you, man. But deep down, we all know you're not a god, that you're just a man. But the Lord's going to show you that by raising up these nations, man. Which you're going to shoot their missiles against the beauty of that wisdom. All right. So let's read this in the NLT. All right. Ezekiel 28:7. I will now bring against you a foreign army, the terror of the nations. They will draw their swords against you, against your marvelous wisdom, and defile your splendor. Right. And I was looking up that word splendor to try to get a little bit of what it means, right? When you go into like the root word of it on the Google dictionary, let me see, it breaks down to magnificent. All right, which is great indeed or exalted in place. All right, it's an adjective. Marked by stately grandeur or lavishness. And that sounds like what? Sounds like America. America is in Esau's eyes is great indeed. And is an exalted place. All right, like it says in, I think it's Daniel 7. They're more stout than their fellows. America's more proud than even their own allies, man. They're the proudest nation. Like the Marines, it says the few, the proud, the Marines. But real soon, you're going to be few. You're going to be humbled and humbled, man, greatly. Because this war is going to be the most deadliest war known to man, man. All right, it's going to be worse than World War I, be more deadlier than World War I. It's going to be more deadlier than World War II. All right, it's going to be so deadly, the troops that are sent out there are not going to come back, not even in body bags, man. All right? They're going to be so deadly, they're going to bring a draft in. Drafting all you men out here, man. All right, which you're going to be shitting your pants when you're out there in the battlefield. Okay. So back in the NOT it says, they will bring you down to the pit and you will die in the heart of the sea, pierced with many wounds. And how are they going to do that? Through nuclear warfare. All right. Through these missiles, man. It says, will you then boast I am a God to those who kill you? To them you will be no God, but merely a man, man. All right. And the Ishmaelites, they see you as the devil. They don't see you as a God. They see you as a devil. The walking physical counterpart of the devil himself. Okay. Your time, America's time is up, man. All right. America's time is up. And right now we're seeing these nations, building up their military might, specifically their nuclear arsenal. Because that's going to be the end all be all, man. That nuclear fire is going to be the end all be all. That's what's going to determine the victor of the war, which ultimately the victor is going to be the Most High, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, man. There ain't going to be no one standing. Ain't going to Russia when America's destroyed. Russia ain't going to be the next one to rule the earth. All right, China's not going to be the next one to rule the earth. North Korea or Iran, nope. It's going to be the Israelites, because all these nations I just mentioned. All right, if you're not an Israelite, you will be enslaved. You will be in subjection under the Israelites. Let's end it with Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 1. It says, thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them, that rise up against me, a destroying wind. Right, and what is that destroying wind? All right, what is that destroying wind? A destroying wind is that nuclear missile, that nuclear fire, man. Okay, that destruction. It says, and I will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her, and shall enter her land, for in the day of trouble they shall be against the round about. Right, all these nations, all right, are going to enter her land with what? With missiles, with fire, man. All right, in the day of trouble they shall be against the round about. Against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow. And against him that lifted himself up in the brigandine, and spare ye not her young men, destroy ye utterly all her hosts. Right. So all these nations that have these nuclear missiles, right, they're not going to spare all the men that are here. They're not going to spare the women. They're not going to spare the children. All right, because that's one thing you got to consider, man. All right, when you go to a foreign nation, you invade a foreign nation with your army, you got to consider the civilian casualties and what are you going to do about the civilians. But in nuclear war, you can't consider. You can't care about the young, the old, the women, and the children. You got to know that they're all going to die, man. That's the cost of war. That's the price of war. Let me get a quick precept real quick. I know I said it was the last one, but let's go to Isaiah 13 and 11. Isaiah 13 and 17. It says, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which the Medes, we apply them today as the Russians. All right. It says, which should not regard silver, and as for gold, they should not delight in it, because Russia, which is the chief captain, which whom the Lord is going to raise up to destroy this place. This is why they're known as the feet of the bear in Revelation, the 13th chapter. Right? When they shoot missiles, they're not going to care about the money that America is going to try to offer them. They're not going to answer their calls. They're not going to care. Just like right now, the White House, they have a phone that's directly to Russia in case a major incident happened between these two major countries. And the White House has been calling the Russians' phone during this was all during the time when Russia invaded Ukraine. But hey, Russia never answered. They never answered. All right, they saw who was calling, and they never picked up, man. Matter of fact, they probably put on do not disturb. You know. So when they shoot missiles, man, best believe America's gonna try to call to try to convince them not to to shoot down their missiles, to deactivate their missiles. But they're not gonna hear none of that, man. It don't matter about how much you plead to them, how much you beg to them, how much money you may offer them. Okay, what do you promise them? Nothing's gonna work, because it is the will of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai to destroy this place, man. All right. So it says, their bow shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. The eyes shall not spare children. So when they shoot these missiles, they're not going to care about the young. They're not going to care about the fruit of the womb. They're not going to care about the woman. They're not going to spare no children, because they know that that's what's going to happen, man. These people, you're going to have everyone that's left down here in the soils of America perish. Okay, it don't matter who they are, man. So going back to Jeremiah 51 and 5, it says, thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, they that are thrust through in the streets. All right, so let me see. I'm gonna skip down to verse 28. It says, Jeremiah 51 and 28, it says, prepare against the nations with the kings of the Medes, the captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion. Right. You're going to have Russia and Russia's allies like China, North Korea, all right, Iran, all right. All of Russia allies, which Russia's going to be the captain thereof, the chief, like it's mentioned in Ezekiel 38, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, right? Gog and Magog. All right, Russia being the head. All right, whom the Lord is going to use to start this nuclear war, man. To utterly destroy the land of America and the land of Israel. It says, and the land shall tremble in sorrow, for every purpose of the Lord shall be performed against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without an inhabitant. And that's what's getting ready to happen. Verse 30, the mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holds. Their might had failed them. They became as women. They have burned her dwelling places. Her bars are broken. And this is what this hasn't happened yet, but we're seeing it. All right, a little bit of it. We're seeing the fear in the American generals, and the concern that they have over Russia, China, and these other nations, man. Okay, they're gonna literally, reading it again, when America's destroyed, right? When the Lord raises up these nations and they destroy America with missiles, right? It says the mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. These American troops, they're not gonna want to fight no more. All right, because right now they believe they're fighting for their country. They're fighting for the people, man. They're fighting for the families to eat every day. All right, they're fighting for the families to live, to have that what they think is freedom. All right, but when they find out that America is destroyed and got hit with missiles, they're not gonna want to fight no more. The will of them to fight, the will for them to fight has left them. They have remained in their holds. Their might hath failed. They became as women. They have burned her dwelling places. Her bars are broken. One post shall run to meet another, and one messenger to meet another, to show the king of Babylon that his city is taken at one end. Okay? We're going to have one military Barak, if I'm saying it right, Salaki if I'm not, run to another, one post from another, saying that America's destroyed, America's destroyed. They actually did it. They actually did it. And these soldiers are going to be weeping. All right? They're going to be like women, man. They're not going to want to fight, man. So, what do you think is going to happen out of that? All right? But anyway, that was all I have for this lesson, Slaki, if I was long-winded with this one. But I hope it was edifying through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Till next time, shalom.